Okay, second cut because it was awful. The first cut, I just was not not putting just it was just a jumbled mess. It was like if you I don't know what to compare it to. But anyways, this is the Image Comic Reviews monthly video. These will be only be these always always these will probably be not probably these will always be uploaded on 31st of every month starting last month. Last month I did this. Actually, no, it was July. July 31st, I did all the Image comics I've read in July, and in August, same thing here. Why did I think that we were not in August? We are in August. So last month was August. I don't know, I guess because I'm back at work, and I work at a school, so I think, oh, it's September, because they have us come back on the 25th of August. The kids do, and so we go back on the 20th, which is great. So maybe I'm just thinking that. It should be September by now, kind of thing. I mean, honestly, it is the last day of the month, so it will be September tomorrow. But anyways, another thing I do want to mention is that this will probably be one of the rare instances where you get 2 uploads a day. Because usually I only like doing 1 upload, if I can help it. So the instances like this obviously going to have more than 1 video per day, or one video per week. You're going to have like comic haul this and comic review that consecutively. Like, so Thursday will be comic haul, Friday will be comic review, Saturday will be a second comic review for this, and then Sunday it'll be the complete graphic novel haul for the month of whatever month we're at that point in time. So days like today, unfortunately, I don't want to push this video till tomorrow. I like to have it on the last day of the month. I could push it tomorrow, but even tomorrow I want to do my, what I'll be reading for the next few weeks. Unfortunately, it will not be the complete graphic novel haul for August, because my dumbass decided to, I mean, I had the money, but decided to order one book last minute. One more book last minute. Anyways, let's get on with it. So yeah, that's why it's kind of like it's too tight. And then to do September 2nd, or to do what I'll be reading the month of September on September 2nd. I don't want to do that. But whatever. Without further ado, let's get into it. Family Force 5. One of those young adult graphic novels. It's a great... Not instance. Not advertisement. It's really silly to say that. But that's a great argument for why the young adult graphic novels genre can actually be enjoyed by more than just young adults. Because this is, and even more than just a 12 plus book. But there are instances here, I will give it credit where it's due, you can tell it is made for that demographic. But honestly, like, the strengths definitely overweigh the weaknesses. And the major strength here is the storytelling. Very strong written characters, pretty damn high stakes, things happening here that I was not expecting to have happen. It honestly, like, it needs to be adapted into a Netflix or Prime Video or whatever. I would say a movie, although this will be I think it's gonna be like a Clementine. It's gonna be 3 volumes, but definitely worthy of reading. Highly recommended. 9 out of 10. Sometimes I feel like I should be saying more with my reviews, but then I'm also like, they get the point. Read the fucking thing, you know? And to say, read the fucking thing, read the fucking thing, read the fucking thing, that's stupid. Obviously I'm not gonna do that. But it's also like, I feel like I need to have like a detailed review for every single book I'm reviewing. And it needs to be 10 minutes each. And so what? The video is 10 hours long, you know? And I don't think I need to, I don't think I'm ever going to be that reviewer. I just have to put myself down. It's not me giving up. That's not me being lazy. It's just saying that is the kind of reviewer that I am. I think, so I said this in the first cut, how my Instagram reviews of comics are sometimes better than the verbal YouTube review. And sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes I'll say something to YouTube. When I'm reading on YouTube, I'll review it later on YouTube. Usually I'm reviewing the comics later on YouTube than I am on Instagram. So Instagram first, then YouTube. And again, vice versa. But thanks, as is the case with some of these books here, you'll soon see. But sometimes the written review, because I'll forget to mention something, I'll mention it here, or whatever, what have you. But yeah, sometimes I do feel like the YouTube review isn't as good as the Instagram review. But again, like I said, I don't need to say any more than it has the strengths outweigh the weaknesses. The story is really strong. The characters are surprisingly strongly written. Nothing feels unearned, I guess is the other thing I could add. And again, pretty high stakes for a young adult graphic novel like this. And this is also written by Matt Braley, who's the showrunner of Amphibia. So I guess that should make sense as to why this was so good and high quality. But I think that was the word I was looking for. One of the more high quality young adult graphic novels. Because they do, to be fair, they do have that kind of like feel to them that it's going to turn off anyone older than my age. I would even say like someone like that's like 45 isn't going to pick this up and be like, yeah, this is something I want to check out, even if they're into graphic novels. Now, some are different, of course, but some, yeah, I can see them seeing this on the comic shelf, picking it up and being like, yeah, this is not what I want to read, but maybe I'll get it for my kids, and then maybe they'll read it to their kids, and then it'll be like they'll read a chapter per night, and it'll be that, I guess this is happening too, this being that graphic novel series that like they anticipate, like, I'm like, bedtime, I'll get to read this now, and they're just as excited as like the adult is just as excited as the kid is to read it. I think that's a perfect way to describe these kinds of books. See, I did it. All I had to do was go back in time. Alright, Tillie Walden's Clementine. Now, I did review this before, so I'm going to keep it rather brief. Book 1 is worthy of rereading, because it could be the black science of Tillie Walden comics, or young adult graphic novels in general, I guess, but where I read it the second time, and everything I liked about Book 2 and 3 is actually apparent in Book 1. I just had too high expectations or what have you. I did not have that super high expectations going into this one as I read before. It's my second time reading Book 1 and half of Book 2. The only reason why I gave up on this series was because I knew Book 3 was coming out, and I was like, screw it, I'll wait till that releases, buy them all myself, and then read them whenever I get around to reading them. Now, I was reading these back-to-back too, which makes Book 2 and 3 being, like, page turners even more apparent, and even, like, that's even a bigger strength. I wasn't like, oh shit, I gotta read. It wasn't like back to back actually, because I did take a break between Book 2 and 3, because one of those things where I think I have plenty of time during the day, but then something happens, and I don't like something happens. Like I had to do something, or something comes up, we go somewhere, and like a impromptu filming trip to the fucking Bahamas, and then I realized, oh, I don't have time to read as I thought I did. Yeah, I read this, but now I'm on Clementine, and it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 12 o'clock midnight, and I want to go to bed. That kind of thing. But anyways, that's getting sidetracked. But Book 1 really was a kind of a chore to get through. But as it went along, I would say it got better. But Book 2 and 3, and especially Book 3, were the strengths of not only Tillie Walden's writing style, but of this story. Again, Book 3 had a lot of stuff I was not expecting to have happen. One in particular, I was like, damn. It kind of comes out of nowhere. I will give credit where it's due, but it was still pretty. I think that's what they're going for too, to have it come out of nowhere. But it's still pretty like hard hitting, even for someone like me that, yeah, I like the characters enough, but wasn't like super attached. And this definitely is the weakest of the Walking Dead universe. I cannot see anybody reading Walking Dead and then reading this and saying, oh no, I actually prefer this. Now this is a lot, like Walking Dead kind of is torture porn-ish, where it's like every character has to have the most harrowing backstory, most depressing backstory, and they have to go through the hardest shit ever. Like every single character, take that as what I want to like really emphasize here. But with Clementine, yeah, some characters go through hard shit, but it seems honestly more realistic, and more in the sense that like one character will not go through as much horrible shit as the next will. Nowadays, yes, they're surviving a zombie apocalypse, but also like it's just. That's the only criticism I have with Walking Dead. Walking Dead is leaps and bounds better than Clementine in all respects. But that one instance, I will give credit where it's due. Clementine kind of did it better in the sense that I feel like, I wouldn't say realistically, I would just say, like, there were more characters that didn't have, like, it was almost predictable at a certain point with Walking Dead. And here it wasn't so much. Again, the one thing it has over Walking Dead. Walking Dead still 10 out of 10. Clementine, book 1, like, overall I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Book 1, probably like a 6 out of 10. 2 and 3, I give like an 8 out of 10. So 7.5 out of 10. The Good Asian. One of those books that I need to reread. Not because I didn't like it, because there was so much information given to us that, honestly, I don't feel complete even having read all 10 issues. Now, I can say for certain that it is a damn good book, and leaps and bounds better than Pornsak Pachodhi's other book, Infidel. Like, this actually, like, it wasn't so on the nose about the political commentary. It wasn't so, like, one-sided or... Not one-sided, but it was, like... Infidel was, like propaganda kind of thing. It was kind of one of those propaganda-ish books, and I really did not like Infidel, but this was really damn good. If this... Like, this is what I expected Infidel to be when I heard about Infidel and heard it was really good, and from all these people that I trust, and I read it, it was not that great. But like, it was kind of one of those books that, like, it's very on the nose about what it's doing, and it's just kind of not the kind of book that, the approach to it, I guess the approach, I think it's the perfect way to describe it. I didn't like the approach of Infidel, but the approach of The Good Asian is definitely better. And then taking place in 1936 really helps the message it wants to get across. But definitely worth reading. Honestly, it's more about the murder mystery than anything, than the commentary. And the commentary is there, sure, but it does not distract. 9 out of 10 for Good Asian. Rocket Girl, volumes 1 and 2. Now, this is one of those series that I bought just because I had some extra money in the budget left over for Christmas. And I was like, you know what, why not get Rocket Girl? It's also an excuse that I can read Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur again. It's by the same creative team as Rocket Girl. Because I didn't really like this one the first time I read it, and the second time, I can see why I didn't like it, but I did like it a lot more. Now, it is still kind of messy, and I definitely feel the need to reread it, but I will not feel like as much as Shore. But definitely kind of just a middle of the road kind of comic. I give it a 6 out of 10. 6.5. Exorcisters might just be my pick of the week next to Family Force 5. This did everything that it set out to do, and did it so well that I think that Ian Boothby should write more comics like this. So Ian Boothby, he wrote the best Simpsons comics. Like, when I was reading Simpsons comics way back in the day, I knew I was in for a treat when I saw Ian Boothby's name in the credits. And I don't think I was alone in that standpoint either. But Exorcisters is honestly his magnum opus when compared to Simpsons comics. Because this is, first of all, creator-owned, so he has to make it his own thing. He really does make it his own thing. Very creative, pretty humorous. I wouldn't say, like, it's not laugh out loud funny. I wasn't, like, rolling on the floor laughing, laughing out loud or anything like that. But it wasn't cringe either. Like, they didn't try too hard to be funny. It wasn't Ryan North levels of cringe humor. It was actually pretty damn... I'd say amusing is the word I'd use, which is going to be a word that you'll hear a lot when I'm talking about this book. It's very amusing. But definitely worth reading. Honestly, my pick of the week. 9.5 out of 10. Actually, I just put these backwards so they can go on the shelf the way I want them to go on the shelf. Because they had to go backwards if I know it sounds silly the way I said it, but like, it's stacked. It's like volume 2 then volume 1. Because on the shelf you have it like this, and then you see volume 1 first before you see volume 2. Let's do that real quick. Well, I will do that after. Alright. Next up is Rain. And this was kind of a mess, but a beautiful mess. And the mess in that I kind of lost the plot, and I feel like it wasn't me. It was the way the the story is told, but scratches all the itches one would have when going into a ticks all the boxes one would have when going into a fantasy comic, going into reading a fantasy graphic novel. Now this is fantasy slash sci-fi, but it is able to do both genres in a pretty unique way. Not like insanely unique, but like nothing that I was seen coming. But definitely worth reading if you like both genres. Now, it's not groundbreaking or anything like that. It's just entertaining. A lot of this book is dialogue. Like, I would say, like, 5 pages. Each issue is just action. No dialogue, just action. And that's the kind of book this is. It wants to entertain and does so very well. 8 out of 10. Oh, Kel Simmons, by the way, writes this book. Alright, I'll go. So I should be crediting these writers. Alright, yep. Only one I didn't do, actually, was Rocket Girl, and that's Brandon Montclair who writes that series. I'm only gonna go with the writer. That's the way I do it. Rodney Barnes' Anita Hawes Nightmare Blog, a spin-off of the Philadelphia series, but you don't have to have read Philadelphia, at least in my opinion, because I haven't read Philadelphia since before reading this. And honestly, this was really damn good. It is able to do so much in just 10 issues, and nothing feels out of place, nothing feels like they're, like what's going on here, like, nothing, I'm never confused, like, why is this character here, why are they doing this kind of thing. It is insanely good, and I cannot wait to read this again. 8.5 out of 10. I would say to read it around Halloween, too. I'm kind of regretting not doing that. Like, actually, I could read it, I could reread it at, around Halloween time. Eternal Empire. This also is a great contender for a pick of the week. Everything I wanted in Sleepless is apparent here from page 1. This is one of the best fantasy graphic novels I have read in a while. 9 out of 10, a must read. Unearth. Just exactly like I got what I thought it was going in for. I knew it wasn't going to be as good as Harrow County based off the Goodreads reviews, but it's like what I like from Colin Bunn. Doesn't have to make sense, but it entertains and does so immensely well. 8 out of 10. To be fair, I did definitely... Honestly, I would say here... like, I wouldn't say it's confusing throughout, but definitely, like, I didn't exactly know what the whole point was, kind of thing. And I don't want to say anything else, because I would give away certain plot elements. But if you've read the book, you read the series, you probably know what I'm talking about. Empty Zone was okay. Definitely lost the plot, and again, like with Rain, I don't think it was my fault. I think it's just kind of a mess. Kind of a lot of things thrown around here, thrown at the wall and seeing what sticks kind of thing. And I felt like you could, except for like maybe the first 2 issues, maybe 3 issues, you could put these issues into a blender and just serve up the issues out of order, and nobody would be able to tell a difference. Like, nobody could... If you said put this in order, I feel like some people would not be able to do that. Now, there are certain exceptions, of course, but for the most part, yeah, not really. 6 out of 10. Nah, 7 out of 10. Because it was definitely fast-paced, too. Like with Rain, it didn't have a whole lot of dialogue. It wasn't dialogue-heavy. So, it was like, instead of taking me 30 minutes to read, it was more like 15 to 20 minutes. On average, a single issue that's regular, standard amount of pages takes me about 20 minutes to read. 20 issues to read. 20 minutes to read. 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes I would say, honestly, nowadays it's more like 30 minutes. And now I don't know why that is the case. But I want to say 20 minutes is like, if it has less dialogue. But not to the extent of Rain. Like, Rain was like 15, like honestly 10 minutes at times. Blood-Stained Teeth by Christian Ward. Yet another contender for Pick of the Week. This was honestly, the month of August was the complete opposite of July, where a lot of them are saying this was just alright, this was disappointing, this yada yada yada. I don't think any of them I read this month was anything below a 6 out of 10. This is definitely contender for pick of the week. If you saw this and you're like, hey, I might be interested in that, but the artwork, definitely pick it up. Like, bar none, pick it up. 9 out of 10. A must read. Highly recommended. You like vampires, you like action, you like a pretty unique take on vampires, but like this type of, like the vampire genre in general. And last but not least is Tokyo Ghost. Make sure I did what I did before. Oh, Jason Sean Alexander, by the way, for Empty Zone. It was Jason Sean Alexander who wrote and did the artwork for Empty Zone. An artist turned author. I wanted to throw that out there before I moved on. So Tokyo Ghost, I read this in my thanks to my library. They had the deluxe edition, so I was able to read the deluxe edition one last time. But the next time I read this series, it will be in the single issue, in the softcover format. Now, Tokyo Ghost is unfortunately Rick Remender's one of Rick Remender's weaker outings. Now, I still liked it. I still would give it a 7.5 out of 10, but it is nowhere near as good as Black Science or anything else I've really read from him. But it's not to the extent of Uncanny X-Force, where I would say I don't understand the hype. Now, Uncanny X-Force is borderline. I don't understand the hype. I keep trying to get into this series, and in fact, I'll be doing that very soon here. I'm gonna actually add that to my mental. I'm gonna add a mental note to get back into Uncanny X-Force. Finally finish it. But Black Science is like really damn good, and I expect that level of creativity, I guess you'd say, from Tokyo Ghost. Now, Tokyo Ghost is my third time reading this series, and I've never been super crazy about it. I did like it the second time, because I think the first time I hated it. The second time I liked it a lot more, and the third time in this most recent time, so let's say fourth time reading the series. I'm kind of, it'll be a long time before I push myself to read this series again. Just not awful, but also not great. Good story though. Like, the story definitely is the strongest point, and what they want and what Rick Remender wanted to achieve, he achieved it very well. It is somewhat thought-provoking, like surprisingly thought-provoking. And it isn't really just a technology bad book, good book either kind of story. It does have that element. I would argue that there's some twists here, that it isn't phone bad, book good. It's more like technology and what it can turn into is what it's a warning for the future of technology, not to what we have right now. But that, as I say, is that, and I would give this, again, like I said, 7.5 out of 10, and it's Rick Remender, by the way, if I didn't mention that, because I was kind of behind on that.